of course, meeting for the first time in court today. It was about a 90-minute hearing.
This isn't going to end well for you, Blake. Sorry.
In a world where sometimes people judge you before they give you a chance.
After just 90 minutes, Blake Lively's legal team went into full-blown panic mode as Justin Baldoni defeated her in court for the first time. This was a crucial step in deciding how this battle would play out, even though it wasn't the final decision. Based on the way things were going, Blake's chances weren't good. Here is the breakdown for those who haven't been following. Not one to back down, Justin Baldoni responded to Blake Lively's stunning $250 million lawsuit accusing him of serious misconduct with an even larger $400 million countersuit accusing Blake of defamation and extortion. After months of intense discussions, the case has now reached the courtroom, paving the way for one of the most chaotic legal battles in Hollywood history. Right from the start of the session, Justin's attorney, Brian Fredman, made it apparent that he was there to fight. Who could blame Blake's legal team for being visibly shaken by his aggressive approach? According to his court demeanor, this was the same man who had publicly declared his intention to sue Blake into oblivion and judge. Blake was so shaken that his lawyers tried to silence him with a gag order in an attempt to prevent him from making any more controversial public remarks. But the judge would not have it that way. Citing that Blake's own attorneys had been equally outspoken in the press, he quickly rejected their request. It would have been utterly unfair to silence Fredman while permitting Blake's team to speak freely, and the judge had no intention of showing preference. Justin's team received their first victory of the day with that decision, but Blake's frustration was about to worsen. The judge was not buying it, dismissing Blake's lawyers' complaints outright and reiterating that Fredman had every right to discuss the case publicly. Blake's lawyers continued to claim that Fredman's frequent interviews and media presence were making it impossible for them to effectively respond each time they were ready to rebut. He was already revealing new information, leaving them rushing to keep up. Another devastating blow for Blake, though, came when her legal team discovered that Justin Baldoni was not only fighting this battle in court, but also taking it online. That's when the real chaos started. Justin's launch of a website devoted to the case, where he intended to post evidence such as video footage, court documents, and messages bolstering his claims, infuriated Blake's attorneys. They claimed that this action was extremely inappropriate and might unjustly influence public opinion before the trial had even begun. But Fredman wasn't going to allow them to change the rules to suit their needs, so he fiercely reminded the court that Blake had taken her claims to the media, first going straight to the New York Times and giving Justin just 12 hours to reply before they released their damning report on him. Justin hardly had time to defend himself before the article went live, permanently harming his reputation if Blake was permitted to use the press to control the story. Why shouldn't Justin have the same rights? That argument was persuasive, and the judge accepted it, giving Justin another victory. However, in a final attempt to maintain control, the judge delivered the day's greatest blow. In an obvious attempt to avoid taking on Fredman directly, Blake's attorneys asked to be given the freedom to select the person who would question her during her deposition, but the judge was not amenable to this. He decided right away that Blake could not choose her own interrogator and that, whether she liked it or not, she would have to respond to the court's choice of interrogator. By the end of the hearing, it was evident that Justin's side had made great progress. Blake's legal team had tried everything to control Fredman, but each time they had failed, he had accelerated instead. They had only provided him with additional chances to support his argument. If this first round was any indication, the fight was far from over. That decision sent a shockwave through Blake Lively's legal team, and they couldn't hide their frustration because they knew exactly what it meant, that Fredman was coming for her, and they had no way of stopping him. Blake was in for a long uphill battle. For those who are not familiar with the legal system, Blake has every reason to be terrified because Brian Fredman is unyielding and won't allow her to sidestep any questions. Every word Blake says during a deposition could be used against her in court because it is sworn testimony. No well-crafted PR statements are included. There were no lawyer-approved deflections. She isn't even close to being ready, based on the straightforward interrogation she received under oath and the frantic efforts of her legal team to prevent her from confronting Fredman. The question that this begs is, why is Blake Lively so desperate to avoid a deposition if she is so certain of her claims? Would she not want to be publicly known and let the facts do the talking if she were speaking the truth? Rather, she and her attorneys are making every effort to keep Fredman away from her by making a variety of excuses. They are aware that there will only be the hard facts once she enters the room. No more spinning, no more strategic leaks, no more distractions. By the time the hearing was over, Blake had suffered yet another devastating blow when the judge rejected their request. It was clear what had happened. Justin and his group had prevailed in every dispute. He won one decision after another, while Blake's legal team lost one after another. Just when they thought things couldn't get any worse, the judge confirmed that the $250 million claim made by Blake and the $400 million countersuit filed by Justin would be combined into a single case. This implies that there won't be a protracted legal battle. Instead, there will be one huge, explosive courtroom. Let's face it, Blake is in a lot of trouble. The trial and showdown are officially set for March 2026, unless they come to an agreement before then. Before the case has even started, she has already lost a number of significant court battles if this actually goes to trial. If this continues, she might find herself in a courtroom where all of the evidence Justin has gathered is exposed, no doubt about it. Not only is the legal battle at stake, but the court of public opinion as well, and at this moment, her orientation in 2 years, her debating reputation is beginning to fall apart. Her fans are split, some are still devoted, while others are starting to doubt her intentions. Justin, meanwhile, is carefully packaging all of the receipts and made sure he had all the evidence he needed to turn the tables on her. He also started a website devoted to the case. He is ensuring that everyone on the planet hears his side of the story, not just retaliating in court. It's a very smart move. He is now retaliating online after Blake used the media to discredit him. Blake must now confront the hard question. Is it worth pursuing this conflict further, or should she issue an apology and end the fight before she utterly destroys herself? Since she will be responsible for $400 million if she loses, she won't simply leave with a tarnished reputation. This leads us to Ryan Reynolds. In this whole situation, where does he stand? Both of them will suffer if Blake loses, and not just in terms of their reputation. The $400 million amount exceeds their combined net worth. Their finances could be completely destroyed if this case doesn't turn out well for her. It appears that Justin Baldoni is going to win both in the courtroom and in the public eye. So perhaps Blake should swallow her pride, find a way to make amends, and stop before she is totally destroyed in court. Should Blake lose this case, the repercussions will be disastrous. Not only is a $400 million payout a financial blow, but it's the kind of blow that could completely ruin her career. It's the kind of money that ruins, not just hurts. A loss of this size would permanently damage not only their bank accounts, but also their entire public image, even with Ryan Reynolds' wealth. The Hollywood Wall scandals may be forgiven, financial catastrophes are not. And this type of judgment might prevent her from re-entering the industry. But it's not just about the money. Not only would she lose a huge amount of money, but she would also lose her influence, credibility, and any chance she ever had of ever being taken seriously in the industry. Hollywood respects power and thrives on drama, and at the moment, power is moving in Justin's favor. Blake is struggling to keep up as he dominates the narrative, wins court cases, and presents evidence. If she keeps going in this direction, she could end up being the cautionary tale of an A-lister who lost everything because she played the game too aggressively. A loss in court would also have repercussions outside of her career, because in Hollywood, reputation is crucial and is almost impossible to restore once it is lost. Studios will not want to collaborate with her. Directors and producers will discreetly distance themselves from brands. Even her former admirers will reconsider enlisting her in a project out of concern for needless controversy. Although a redemption arc is always a possibility, this isn't just a PR sham that she can make light of in an interview years later. In addition to being a blow to her career, a conviction for extortion and defamation could leave her permanently disgraced. In the meantime, Justin is making progress with each legal decision in his favor. He is methodically dismantling Blake's claims one by one and positioning himself as the party who was unfairly attacked. He is demonstrating that he is not just fighting back, but also taking control, and Hollywood loves a winner. Blake finds it more difficult to turn the story around, and this legal battle is far from over. There will likely be more unanticipated twists, more courtroom drama, and more public outbursts as both sides continue to fight it out. The stakes could not be higher and the longer. This makes Blake's situation appear worse if she can't regain control or at least lessen the harm. The tea is still brewing, and it's hard to predict how messy things will get, so stay tuned because this could end up being one of the biggest Hollywood collapses in recent memory.